one of the big challenges you have is a surveillance state shows up. Now, this is a much talked about issue in the literature around the world. Take for an example, Bangalore, I checked this today, has 5.3 lakh cameras which are operating across the city. Delhi, I believe, has some 1800 cameras per square mile. This is an old number. This is probably much more. Yes, those cameras are helpful for security purposes, for managing traffic, etc. But they are also a huge source of surveillance.
Greetings. Welcome to the world of Omshia Foundation. Representing Omshia Foundation's A4G Impact Collaborative, I, Aarti Ahuja, am delighted to invite you to join our podcast series, Governance Dialogues Shaping the Future of AI. The A4G Impact Collaborative is a global alliance launched by Omshia Foundation under the thought collaborators across various professions and thinking who are shaping the AI landscape with Swadharma and Swabhav that will ensure AI becomes a force for equity, compassion, and sustainability. AI unites experts, institutions, and policymakers to co create open solutions across three key domains: AI for sustainability, driving ESG transformation and circular economy adoption with data driven insights; AI for mental well being, scaling supportive AI human frameworks for accessible mental health; and governance of AI, developing ethical, human centered, and inclusive governance frameworks. We hosted our first event, A4G Horizons Responsible AI Symposium, in partnership with DTU on April 16th this year, taking the collective forward with our nation's educators and AI policymakers. We present episode 5, Smart Safety, AI's Role in Future Cities. Contributing to this important discussion, the version of our new cities today is going to be formulated by AI, and we are glad visionaries and thinkers for our cities, two of them join us today. We have today with us Dr. Charru Malhotra, who is a leading scholar and practitioner in digital governance, contributing significantly to India's flagship initiatives such as Digital India Mission, Smart Cities, and India at 2047. At IPPA, she has co-led the development of District Good Governance Index and trained numerous public officials in e-governance and ICT-driven public administration. Her research focuses on citizen-centric delivery, digital ethics, and leveraging emerging technologies for inclusive governance. Along with her, today we are also graced with the presence of Dr. Rahul Dey. He is a pioneering academician in the field of information systems and digital transformation. As a dean at IIM Bangalore, his research and teaching have shaped global conversations on AI ethics, open source governance, and responsible innovation. He has published extensively on the governance of digital technologies, trust in AI systems, and public policy implications of automation. Currently, he serves as an independent researcher and consultant advising on AI strategy, privacy, and ethics. And today, our moderator is a member of our youth ambassador team, Harsh, and I request him to take it forward now.
And welcome to Governance Dialogues, Shaping the Future of AI. I am Harshit Sharma, and today we are diving into a fascinating theme: smart safety, AI's role in future cities. Indian cities are getting smarter, from intelligent traffic systems to predictive governance tools. But with that comes an equally important question: how do we ensure these technologies are safe, ethical, and inclusive? To help us unpack this, we are joined by two incredible experts, Dr. Charru Malhotra ma'am, Dr. Rahul Dey sir. So let's get started. We'll start with mapping the urban AI landscape. So we'll understand how AI is reshaping Indian cities and the key governance challenges it brings. So, Dr. Charu ma'am, you have led several national initiatives from evaluating ICT academies to designing the District Good Governance Index. Drawing from these experiences, where do you see AI already making the most tangible impact in India's smart city ecosystem?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, and thanks again for inviting us. Professor Rahul Dey has always been our lighthouse in terms of our understanding of technology as well as its implementation. So now your question, where are we when it comes to being perched in AI for smart cities? I'll just, Harshit, tell you one thing that before we start, let's not forget the
Mm.
context to which we belong. We belong to a country which is teeming with 1.4 billion of us. Okay. And
Yep.
also, not just that, what is not known to some of us is that we are actually one of those, that 400 million people are living in urban regions in our country. So we are one of the largest urbanizing societies in the world. Okay. And World Bank gave that in a report. Now, with this background, I would not mince words. I would still say that we are still only at the first stage of AI adoption in our country. Of course, everybody remembers smart city mission of a country where 100 designated smart cities had to go like all gizmos and all tech oriented. These 100 designated smart cities have come up with tangible impact in terms of governance and citizen services. And like the introduction said, I particularly work in digital India, I particularly work in public service delivery and digital transformation and governance. So, with this combination, India has definitely in these 100 designated smart cities come up with direct impact through platforms like MyGov, which is an integrated citizen engagement platform. Umang
Mm.
is there, and also Bhashni has transformed. And Bhashni is NLP, it's like natural language processing AI tool, which
Yeah.
is actually inculcating 22 language translation. It's like, I would not say it's akin to Google Translates. It's that the concept is the same, but we are far more complicated than Google Translate. So
Okay.
Bhashni has transformed how citizens speak to the state. Okay.
Okay.
And these conversational AI chatbots answering queries on schemes, pensions, healthcare, education in various 22 Indian languages is definitely very important front end of AI implementation. And I
Indeed.
should also bring to your notice that it is already hosting 300 language models and more than 100 applied use cases in urban context. Okay, and
Okay.
it has been downloaded more than 7 lakh times. So I think we should not undermine that in a country with such a deep linguistic diversity, this is real democratization of governance, particularly urban. I'm not going into digital rural divide. I'm just looking at urban lens because that's what we are talking about. Another thing which probably should be celebrated that as of March 2025, India has, particularly in these 100 smart cities, operationalized integrated command and control centers, okay, ICCCs. These
Okay.
ICCCs are not theoretical dashboards. They are running everyday machinery of these 100 cities, right from traffic signals to emergency response to water supply management to solid waste routings to CCTV based public safety. And if anybody would like to recall, during COVID-19, these ICCCs had become national war rooms. They were mapping
Okay.
oxygen beds, they were controlling ambulance flows, they were handling containment zones. So, all this was a tangible impact with AI, particularly helping us to be predictive in some sense. Okay.
Okay.
Apart from that, if we come to the infrastructure, which would be the first layer to ensure that we are moving towards AI driven smart cities, let's not forget 2,000 emergency call boxes. I think around 90,000 CCTV cameras across the country, 3,000 public address systems, which are actually tied into AI enabled monitoring. Then you have 9,000 waste collection vehicles. When I was going through this data, we also have smart roads, like 1,740 kilometers of that. We have smart cycle tracks. Which are actually coordinated through these intelligent transport management systems. I was celebrating and I was still like, you know, too little for a country as humongous as India. So yes, AI is not fully integrated into our Indian smart cities, but there is an important shift. Another thing which we should remember is that the systems that power our smart cities are not always visible to our citizens. Like MyGov or Bhashni could be visible, but there are
I mean,
certain.
is it being used in local administrative offices or not?
Yes, it is to a large extent, yes. And if you would
Okay.
recall, the paperless office, which started as less paper office,
Mhm.
was the first initiative for urban local bodies. Okay. So
Okay.
that is it. And what I was telling you is that when you particularly talk about AI,
Mhm.
things like smart grids, IoT sensors, or SCADA,
Mhm.
that supervisory control and data acquisition systems, which are working for water or utilities, they operate quietly in the background. So
Okay.
citizens notice tangible impact of what you just mentioned about the back end offices or the front end citizen service part. But there are systems running continuously in our country which are collecting real time urban data without citizens
Mhm.
even noticing. But yes,
Yeah.
we need to do much more. I'll just take a pause here because then I'll keep rambling otherwise. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really insightful for us. Okay, so Dr. Rahul, sir, you've been studying AI and digital transformation for decades. As Indian cities increasingly depend upon connected infrastructure and predictive systems, what new challenges around privacy, transparency, and data governance should policymakers focus on first?
Yes, good question and great introduction to the topic by Dr. Malhotra. I'm very happy to be on this panel with her. So, in a way, I'm going to you are you are putting me in a position to give a counter position. I agree with Dr. Malhotra on this point that there's a lot that is going on, humongous amount of work that's going on for the last 2 decades. The Indian governments, various governments, have put in a lot of effort, a lot of thinking behind the
Mhm.
IT infrastructures that we have been creating. Excuse me. Sorry. Now, the challenge is what happens is when you have such a deep level of digitization that is happening in the urban areas, as Dr.
Mhm.
Malhotra pointed out, one of the big challenges you have is a surveillance state shows up. This is a much talked about issue in the literature around the world. Take, for an example, Bangalore. I checked this today, has 5.3 lakh cameras which are
Mm.
operating across the city.
Okay.
Excuse me, some irritation here. Delhi,
No
I
worries.
believe, has some 1,800 cameras per square mile. This is an old number. This is probably much more. Yes, those cameras are helpful for security purposes, for managing traffic, etc. But they are also a huge source of surveillance.
Yeah.
Citizens are constantly under the watch. Take the other thing that India actually leads in. India is phenomenally good at what is called digital transactions, UPI payments. We are the
Yeah.
best, the highest number of payments in the world. Our UPI servers are handling, literally billions of transactions in a week. What that is doing is also making things easy for us on one side. On the other hand, it is creating a massive surveillance record of everything we do. You buy an ice cream, it's on a server. You pay a rickshawala, it's on a server.
True.
Now, we do have, since DPDP Act was implemented in 2023, we do
Mhm.
have some privacy protections that have now been, the government has thought through and said, okay, individual records of data should be protected. And the laws are reasonably clear on that. However, as we all know, the DPDP Act, the rules have not come. It's actually a good act which has not been implemented.
Yeah.
Now, there are other issues that come in. When you are collecting data in such humongous quantities, it's
Mhm.
like billions of transactions a day. We are one of the most populous countries in the world. And when we are using UPI at that scale, we've
Mhm.
got humongous data. What do we do with it? How do we manage it? What are our policies going forward? And that is in your question you asked, other issues related to data
Mhm.
governance. Yes, there are. Our DPDP Act says, look, you can only collect data for a particular purpose. So if you're collecting data for traffic, you can't really use it for something else. But you know what? We are using it. If you are collecting data for taxation purposes, okay,
Mhm.
GST, etc., you can't use it for something else, but it is being used for other purposes.
Yeah.
Now, here is where the challenge comes in. Going forward, as AI comes in, and these AI technologies can work at scale, at tremendous
Mhm.
scale. Whether it's it's payments, whether it's education, healthcare, even traffic or face recognition cameras, we as a society have got to become very, very conscious. We have to inform ourselves as to what this can do and
So,
what
like,
it
can
can.
you can you
Hmm.
please share some state-sponsored surveillance or stuff like that where country has done something like that where they have recorded the data and things like that? Any recent or examples if you are aware about that?
Yeah, there are several. China is a prime example.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
China runs massive surveillance campaigns. They have a social credit system which they deny, but partly, it may be at a mild form, but basically, if like I've been sneezing, if I like in
Mhm.
India, people spit on the road. I don't like it,
Mhm.
but if you spit on the road, you get
Mhm.
you get negative points. And next time you're trying to board a plane, they'll say, "Hey, you spat on the road, so you'll get a bad seat in the plane."
Oh.
Now, at one level, it sounds okay. Hey, yeah, you shouldn't spit on the roads. But another level, we cannot do this. We have to tackle this in different ways. For instance, social behavior has to be, taught to children so that we learn this. We are horrible at traffic. Yeah, if you live in, Bangalore, it's horrible. At Delhi is also, it's going that way. And a lot of it is behavior oriented. Now we have traffic cameras all over the city, and people are getting fined. uh, that if that is the purpose, fair enough, it's only for the purpose of traffic control. It should not be
Mhm.
used for something else, which I'm sorry to
True.
say it is being used for. I'll give one
Okay.
very concrete example. If you use the I
Mhm.
app, it actually from your car number it reveals your name and also your location. I
Oh.
don't think that's right. It should not
Like,
happen.
is anyone raising this issue at the national level or not?
Yes, yes. There are people who are raising this issue. Many, actually, people from academia, civil society,
Mhm.
government, they are also conscious of this issue.
Okay.
And they are, thinking through how to come up with these policies. For instance, I think Dr. Malhotra would have seen this also. The AI governance report came out actually just 2 days ago. So I was going through it today in preparation for this talk, and it says very clearly that a lot of the conditions in that report are very clear about the whole trustworthiness and protecting people's issues is very, very clear. So,
Indeed.
so there is good news. There is people are conscious of this. They are addressing these issues at the right level. So that is happening. Yes.
It's a
I'll
good
pause
thing.
here. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right, wonderful insights from both of you guys. All right, so we'll move on to the next round where we'll discuss building responsible and resilient systems in India. So, like, our goal of this round will be to explore governance models, safeguards, and participatory approaches. So, Dr. Charu, ma'am, you have often emphasized citizen-centric governance. In the context of AI-enabled cities, how can we move beyond efficiency metrics like speed and automation to actually measure improvements in citizens' quality of life?
I think first and foremost, Harshit, I feel that the KPIs that determine whether the
Mhm.
initiative is doing well or not should
Mhm.
be totally citizen centric in nature. That, in terms of whether the grievances have stopped coming, Now, whether the grievances are being addressed with how much of resource. So what I'm saying is, what is very important is that how we design the success of an initiative or rank an initiative as a successful initiative should not be either tech centric or bureaucratic centric. It should be totally citizen centric. And so that's one point. And second is,
Okay.
whenever we think of involving citizen centricity, actually, that was my PhD topic, so I can keep talking about it. We should
Okay.
not
Mm.
forget that only the wearer knows where the shoe pinches, right? So, citizen centricity is not possible without citizen inclusion. And when we
True.
talk citizen inclusion in a country which is as diverse as our country is, we can't think on terms of individuals. We have to think in terms of communities. Okay, that how is youth responding to this initiative? How are old people responding to these initiatives? And many other communities, how are SMEs responding to these initiatives? While doing this, now please let's not forget, as literature, academic literature also warns us, that the reason we are doing this is for an inclusive approach. So those
True.
with louder voices or better access to technology should not be the only ones responding to these citizen consultation
Mm.
designs. Okay. I mean, the whimper of somebody who's marginalized or who's on the
Mm.
outlier is to be captured, responded to as an important input. My
Okay.
guides used to always tell me, don't look at mean, median, mode, look at outliers. Listen to those stories that are telling you about how this initiative could have made difference to their lives, rather than those who are saying yes, yes, yes. Okay, it works, it works, it works.
Mm.
So, what I'm
I'm
trying to
yeah,
say
go ahead.
is, number one, how do we design these tools in a country as beautiful as ours? Number two, how these means are being, disseminated and captured back. It can't be just MyGov platform, which is online. It should also be community radios. It could also be public podcast systems. It could also be many other initiatives where communities are gathering together and you have one kind of facilitator capturing that data, and that data is actually going back. Now, in certain citizen consultation rounds or in certain, I would say, digital engagement platforms, we
Mm.
don't find a very viable, healthy feedback loop. So we are eager to take inputs from citizen, but how those inputs have been reflected in the policy making. And
Okay.
has the citizen been informed that, look, your input is one through which we made these changes in the waste collection system, or probably in the road design, or in the safety, app of the city. So that is still not forthcoming.
Okay.
That is why citizens, despite their preoccupation, even when they come into these citizen consultation rounds or participate in digital engagement platforms, they have we are not able to sustain their interest, because
Yeah.
it looks as if they're talking one-sided. They are
Yep.
talking and they are trying to give, and then suddenly we find there's some other discussion, which is some other thread or some other blog which has gone hyperactive to give importance to other issues which were not very citizen-centric in nature. So we need
Mm.
to involve NGOs, we need to involve civil society, we need to look at various means of capturing this input, and what we want to capture is also important. And last but not the least, we need to
Mm.
sensitize people through, through innovative mechanisms about what we are talking about. How can you talk about smart cities when they don't know what is smart city supposed to deliver? So,
Yep.
sensitization,
Mm.
awareness, capacity building, redesigning of tools, multi channel approach, multilingual approach, these are mechanisms that will make this process more viable and more, more tangible in terms of its impact.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, ma'am, so like how can governments ensure that these systems don't deepen the digital divide? Because to be honest, I also really feel the same that it's deepening the digital divide. So like how can we ensure that like we are curbing this issue?
Government is doing its bit. Look, I am
Okay.
not going to deny that there are many initiatives of government of India. Even if you go back to digital India, the first pillar or the second pillar was
Mm-hmm.
broadband for all. Okay, and it stood by its claim. It tried
Mm-hmm.
giving rural broadband through USOF, which is Universal Service Obligation Fund. Now, how many companies were able to use it or to apply it for rural connectivity? Government did try coming up with innovative mechanisms to replace Western models which were more expensive. Like we had Simputer, which was like almost an equivalent of a computer. We had Gobar gas thala, which was again one of the IITs came up with that, which was an innovative energy giving mechanism. So these were certain government funded initiatives. There were many schemes and policies, but let's not forget the expanse of our country. Let's not forget that it's not one stakeholder who could do all the difference.
Yeah.
Governance, if you go back to definition, is not just government. It's also NGO, it's
Yeah.
also
True.
academia, it's also media, it's also people themselves. So a lot of these players have to be equally proactive to make these possibilities a reality. Giving a policy or giving a rule or provision from government is not a safeguard of an 100% successful initiative.
Indeed. Especially like there's a statement about India that every statement about India is true and its opposite is also true. So
Also
like
true.
there are variety of interests, so we should take care of all of them.
I
Like
always
wonderful ins.
say, Harsh, I always say
Mm.
that whatever works elsewhere in the world will never work in India. But whatever works in India will work everywhere in the world. Because we are
Definitely.
so very like Delhi itself is mini India.
Yeah.
So, and India itself is a mini world. You'll find some parts mapping to US, you'll find some parts mapping to Europe, you'll find some maps mapping wherever. So India
Definitely.
is
Yeah.
so unique and beautiful in its ways.
True.
Yeah.
Right, Rahul sir, we'll move on to you. So, given your deep engagement in AI ethics and open source governance, so how can local governments ensure co-design where residents, planners, and technologists jointly shape and even audit the AI systems that will impact their communities?
Yeah, great question. First, I fully agree with Dr. Malhotra. She's made excellent points. Yes, we are trying. We are trying very hard, but we have some substantive issues that won't just go away by simple technology implementations. So, going back to this question, how can we co-design? You see, I'm a big fan of open source software, which I've been actually you personally using and promoting. And I must say that when some of us, many of us got together and
Mm.
pushed the government of India to actually have an open source policy, which we do.
Okay.
Having said that, let me add that the open source community is vibrant and strong in India. It's doing very well. We are one of the biggest contributors to GitHub now, all the source code.
Mm.
This
Yeah.
is community design. This is young people like yourself, like a lot of people in colleges, in working in startups, across actually mainly urban centers who are contributing. Some of them are from rural areas. They are making design. They are saying this is what the technology should look like. It is not always coming from the West. So that is very good news. However, it is still fragmented. It's in silos, in small places. Now, let me give two examples to illustrate what I'm saying. I'm going to talk about
Mm.
payments, UPI payments. So the other day, this was a while back, I had gone to buy a little lock for my drawer here.
Mm.
So I went to the store and said, I took my old lock along and I said, I want a replacement. So he said, okay, here's one. And, he just told me the charge. I said,
Mm.
okay. I was going to pay. Then I said,
Mm.
if it doesn't fit, can I come back and change it?
Mhm.
He says, yeah, you can, but how are you going to pay? I said, I was going
Mm.
to give you UPI. He
Mhm.
says, look, if you think you will need to change it, I won't take UPI. Then I'll take cash. So I was intrigued. I didn't grill him. I said, okay, fine. I'll pay cash. I came back, after that it worked, so I didn't go back to it. That's
Okay.
one incident. Another incident, you may have experienced this also. Many cases, people on the streets, if you're buying something like a tea or something, or something off the street,
Mm,
the you say, okay, mostly nowadays everybody has UPI. This was a
mm,
while back when one guy didn't have UPI. I said, I'm sorry, I've had the tea. I
mm,
don't have cash. Can I give you
mm,
UPI? He says, I don't have it, but hold on a second. He goes to his neighbor,
mm,
another stall guy. He had UPI. He said, "You pay him, and he'll do this for me." This is adaptation. Now, both these vendors I'm talking about have adapted to this technology. One who's a little worried because doesn't want to get messed up with all this GST stuff. So he says, "Look, do cash with me." The other guy doesn't have the tech, but he's adapted. This is one of the key insights we have learned from a lot of IS theory over the years, is that
mm.
IS is never used exactly by how it is designed. Okay, it's not
Okay.
like you're using the phone exactly the way Samsung
Mm,
told you to. No, we adapt, we change. And
mm,
that is how, in many ways, design evolves over a period of time. We are adapting and changing.
mm,
Even if you take AI technologies today, there's a lot of push now to build these large language models in India.
mm,
Why? Why are we reinventing the wheel? For a good reason. We have to build it with Indian data, with Indian languages, with Indian content.
yeah.
That core technology, we are not reinventing that wheel, but we have to make it here, and that makes sense. Here is where we have to now participate as a community, and I'm happy to say government is backing this in a big way. We need data, we don't have it. We need models. The government is giving us a lot of these, this hardware to work with. We actually don't have data in many of our Indic languages. Hindi is the largest
Mm,
corpus, but even then it's not enough compared to what you actually need to train these models.
okay.
So going forward, the direct answer is, A, we need to get our community involved, which is happening, but it has to be
Mm,
a lot more. We have to
mm,
do things like these hackathons, you're doing a podcast, all these things inform people. So there needs to be skilling and fluency in these technologies. People have to understand this in a big way. Second,
okay.
we have to listen to these guys who are adapting, these vendors. We as academics, I'm sure, Charu was saying actually the same thing. You've got to
Mm,
listen to these outliers, these guys who
true.
are, twisting, molding, changing, shaping the technology in ways that gives us the insight as to what will work for them and what is needed in there. And that
But
is
like,
how we are
yeah.
going to grow. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So like, are there any civic tech startups who are like helping that adaptability of such technologies, who are making it reachable to the rural areas? So like, are there any innovators or startups who are working on this?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Many. I interacted with one of them very recently. There's so many.
Okay.
Charu was raising her hands. Yeah, she could probably name another 20. I'll name one or two.
That's not an
There's
issue.
some who
Yeah.
are, building, basic IT configurations like email services, like basic AI, like basic, accounting packages, who are adapting it for rural communities. What are the challenges with rural communities? Many times connectivity is not great, electricity is not great, fixing hardware and getting replacements is not easy. So
Mm,
that is where they are going there and adapting and saying, okay, here's what you can use which will work for you, and you
right.
can adapt it to your local language, and you train the people out there. You work in a village. So there are several such startups in Bangalore who are
Mm,
doing this brilliant work, very very good work.
perfect. Perfect. Charu ma'am, would you like to add anything? You were raising your hand.
I was just saying yes, yes, yes. I mean, that is, I was working with R&D scheme of Government of India, sir, where they're
Okay.
working on deep
Mm,
tech technologies like drones, etc.
mm,
And the amount of startups I found were amazing. They are not just working in agriculture or health, which is typically Indian scenario. but they're also working in like great initiatives in quantum computing as well as satellites, cybersecurity, and cybersecurity not as what you would perceive, but cybersecurity with AGI. I mean, advanced AGI plus quantum. Okay, so those kind of startups, when I was talking to them, I'm so proud of our country of what they are doing. And the only thing is I mean, I'll be devil's advocate at the same time. Is hello, can you see me or hear me?
Yep, ma'am, you are audible.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So the only thing is that, there are times because of lack of consistent policy devices or instruments or ecosystem in the country, they fumble also. They're not sure of how to go ahead with whatever they are doing um, because I think we still need a very robust, agile uh, processes which could be deemed as what we've been saying always, Digital India Act, which will subsume in itself AI Act, Cybersecurity Act, and Metaverse Act and everything. And let's not forget, in the entire process of innovations, like sir mentioned about open source, in the entire process of innovation, non-personal data is very important. And we don't have any non-personal data governance framework as of now. Okay, how many
Okay.
traffic cars are going over a light and how many criminals were nabbed in this particular this. Though data.gov.in and OGD are doing good jobs, but if you would go to that platform, you would still be, trying to figure out how to use that data. Is that data complete in itself? So there should be some policy which is there to help our startups. When I talk to them, they say, how can they expect us to innovate using AI when there is no data? Because AI is just data
Yeah.
guzzler. So policies are important, data is important, data governance frameworks are important. So it's not just DPDP Act, which sir mentioned, and I'm also very proud of that. But I think for all this, in terms of cities, we need non-personal data governance frameworks also. So startups are there, but they look for handholding through certain instruments and certain processes. So that's it.
Inspect. In fact, I was attending a event yesterday, so where they said that having our data centers in India is itself will be a very big thing, especially to the startups where we can store our data in India itself. So yeah, let's hoping for a government who can like help us with this. So all
Well,
right, we
it's a dual-edged sword. It's a dual-edged. Let's not even
Yeah.
go there. Let's not even go there.
so
If you are not taking
hmm,
that as mandate of this podcast, let's not go
hmm.
there. Because there
Oh,
are
okay.
Yes, this I'll add to that. Data
Hmm,
localization may be good
hmm.
thing, may not be good thing. We have to be
Oh,
careful
is
with
it?
that. I fully subscribe to that. I'm
All
not a
right,
big
we'll
fan
we'll
of data
hmm.
localization.
Oh,
Yeah, there are challenges.
but we'll have a separate podcast on this. It seems like a very
yeah.
interesting subject.
Yeah,
Yes,
Right, all
because
yes.
right.
just
Hmm,
one thing, data centers, if you are
hmm,
celebrating them, they
hmm,
are massive electricity guzzlers, water guzzlers,
hmm,
they lead to carbon emissions, they are not very sustainable for the local populace there in terms of the kind of pollutants that are generated, the kind of emissions that come. So the environmental impact of data centers, if you would read about Elon Musk's story of
hmm,
Memphis, I think it was that data center he called as Colossus or something like that in Memphis, which
hmm.
faced a lot of protests from the urban population there because of pollution, secrecy, and groundwater usage. So, so let's not even go
Hmm.
there. Yeah.
Right, I'll have to do some research because I've received two contradictory statements yesterday and now, so I
No, take a
work on
good
it.
look at the book. I'll
Hmm,
mention the book. It's called Empire of AI
hmm.
by
Okay.
Karen Howe. And she
Hmm.
talks about exactly what Charu is saying. She talks about how data centers are being moved to Argentina. And these are what they
Okay.
call hyperscale data centers. There are millions of servers, millions. It's not like a handful. And they are sucking out the groundwater. This is drinkable water. They are eating up all the resources nearby because they have to be fed with electricity. People are
Hmm.
building nuclear power reactors just to feed those data centers. Yesterday, Google has announced that they're going to put data centers in space. They will directly
Oh,
take solar energy. I said that's good, good. That's let it go there. But yeah, they are a huge issue, huge issue. Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
it
Let's go
seems
back
very
to your
interesting,
topic.
but we are running out of time. We'll have another podcast on this. Let's move on to the round three, where we'll discuss the future pathways for safe and smart cities. So in this round, we'll be doing the vision setting and goal setting and actionable recommendations from you guys. So, Dr. Charu ma'am, looking ahead to India at 2047, what emerging technologies like Edge AI, federated data platforms, or adaptive governance dashboards could most transform urban governance?
You said it yourself, Harshit. The
Hmm.
first and foremost is federated data platforms.
Okay.
Because, like Rahul sir said, privacy is very close to our heart. We don't want surveillance. We don't want to lose our data to snooping countries or enemy nations. So, federated data platforms is like it's like you have a diary of certain details. I have a diary. Sir has a diary. Asmita has a diary. We have our data.
Hmm.
So one is that we put all the diaries together in a box and we
Hmm.
centralize. So what is the disadvantage? Anybody hacks into that,
Hmm.
box and all the data is lost. Okay.
Yep.
Federated data structure is you keep your data with you, you keep your diary with you, I keep my diary with me. So if
Hmm.
third party wants some data, I only give that much data to through a partial window where the
Hmm.
entire data is not visible and I'm responsible for safety and security of my own data. So where
Okay.
the accountability is there, where there is a complete answerability of the authority to the data
Hmm.
updated, whether it's the latest data or not. So there you can pin it on the data owner. So that I think for a country like India, where we have millions and billions of ministries, departments, organizations, local bodies, this will
Hmm.
be the future. Federated data
Okay. Hmm.
platforms. Okay. Now,
Hmm.
I think the second part, which let's not even go into AGI. That's a very complicated way because cognitive thinking in AI is something which needs again a different space and different kind of background. We've been building background of smart cities, so let's stick to that. So I personally feel that edge computing is another thing that will make difference to us, where local computing would be possible to predict in that particular context or that particular area. That is
Hmm.
very, very important. And also from LLMs we'll be moving towards SLMs, small
Hmm.
language models, where whatever I need from a particular thing is very
Hmm.
important. And last, if you look at 2047, that's my favorite topic, Viksit Bharat 2047. The first
Okay.
word which people forget is Atmanirbhar Viksit Bharat 2047. So
Hmm.
Atmanirbhar is self-reliance, that I'll be Indianizing technologies, like Sir
Hmm.
talked about startups, okay?
Hmm.
So my own sovereignty on my data, my infrastructure, my cloud, everything. My own, like Sir talked about, our own indigenous browser, maybe our own indigenous MS Office, our own indigenous WhatsApps. So
Hmm.
that kind of wave I'm trying to foresee and very optimistic about it, depending on how we build guardrails around technology.
Hmm.
So these are 4 5 trends which would identify. And very honestly, I don't
Hmm.
see many brick and mortar establishments sustaining till 2047.
Okay.
So, I mean, 4 or 5 of us didn't have to meet
Hmm.
in a physical space to do this brainstorming. So,
Hmm.
similarly, you would find what is more important is life cycle approach of the citizen, where citizen as an entity wants something, who's delivering, whether it is a brick and mortar or a virtual space or an interconnected space where not just government but semi-government is also participating or academia is also participating, that would not make difference to the citizen. So citizen would be the queen or king, whatever you want to call, and government
Hmm.
would just recede in the background in whatever formats, tangible, intangible, semi-tangible, but ubiquitous for sure.
Okay, perfect. Uh, and ma'am, do you believe like that India's governance institutions are ready for that scale of tech adoption as of now, or like that structure is not really well developed as of now?
Say
Are we
again,
ready for
say,
that?
say your question again.
Like India's governance institutions are ready for that level of tech adoption or
Oh,
not?
Of course. I mean,
Mm,
government institutes in our country
mm,
are already I was part of sectoral group of
mm,
secretaries where 16, 17 secretaries of different ministries or
mm,
union level, we would sit together and draw vision statement for 2047 for them. So we realized that we want probably a better passport index. We realized that our language portal should not be a portal, it should be a platform. So when secretaries are talking these words, how can you
mm.
not expect everything percolates from top?
Yep.
So please understand, they are not just aware, they are much more aware. They are globally exposed, they are interacting with IIMs and IITs and IIPAs. So we are having a different genre of bureaucracy who's less of bureaucracy and more of
Mm.
technocracy.
Well, that's a very good news. All right, so we'll move on to you, Rahul sir. You've mentored and evaluated some of the brightest governance minds. Based on your experience, what are the biggest lessons about embedding trust and human oversight in AI systems for public governance? And
Yeah,
one
this
of
is a
your
great question.
governance mindsets with us
Yeah,
here.
this I liked your question when you sent it. I said, okay, I got to think about it.
Mhm,
So see, first thing I'll say is trust takes a while to establish. It doesn't come
mm,
easily. I take the Aadhaar example. Aadhaar was formulated around 2009 or so,
mm,
and there were from last count there were 11 lawsuits against Aadhaar, relentless lawsuits in the state at the Supreme Court level. And there were huge number of challenges. Aadhaar became law as a money bill. If you guys remember, I forget the date, 2018 or so. It came as a money bill. Why did this happen? And why is it that we are using Aadhaar so extensively today? We didn't trust. We didn't think this would work.
mm.
Today, Aadhaar does work. Okay, for the most
Yeah.
part, if you're being checked for something, wherever you use it, it does work. It does send a signal for most of us. There are
Yep.
instances, and research has shown there are instances in which it fails,
Mm,
and then people are trying to remediate. So one of the core issues in any technology acceptance model, I can say the same for UPI. Actually, digital
mm.
payments has been around for a long time. There have been
Yeah.
many, many attempts at this. Airtel started one. There were other startups who came in. Nothing worked. Paytm was struggling until demonetization happened. And it was kind of everybody was forced into this. You just jump in. Even if you see the demonetization graph, after demon in 2016, digital payments surged up. It went up like, at a very steep curve. And then it leveled off and
True.
then it started declining. People would not
Okay.
trust. It is today that UPI payments has actually picked up, and people, after they have used it extensively, tried it, and said, "Okay, now I trust this." Even today, if you're making a payment and that thing goes round and round, you can't make your payment, you get into trouble. Your auto wala is waiting or somebody is waiting. Trust takes a while to establish, and trust, frankly, a lot of it comes from our colleagues and our friends. If our friends are using it, we begin to use it.
Mm,
That's usually the case. These are these network effects things that we teach in classes. So trust is very hard to build. First, I will say, in fact, I've written about this, that any form of policy which coerces people to use technology should be avoided.
okay.
This cannot be forced. I'll take another example. For a long time, FASTag in
Mm,
Karnataka, Bangalore, FASTag was being encouraged. Please use FASTag. Please use FASTag. People would do it. Some people would not do it. They wouldn't try. Then something else happened, which I also
mm,
experienced, which is the FASTag fee for going through on those one of those toll roads.
Tolls.
If
Yep. Tolls.
Yeah, if it was 60 rupees for FASTag, it was 120 rupees for cash.
Mm,
So it was like double, 100% fine on your FASTag. Guess what? People promptly switched very quickly. Everybody was switching. Even then, there were queues. Now, I am not in favor of this. I do not think for us it's
Okay.
okay. I can handle it, and maybe I wasn't being lazy. I had trouble with it, but maybe we were being lazy. We were not doing it. But for
Mm-hmm.
some people, it is a substantive issue. They cannot afford this. This should not be done. That is where the trust issue comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So there are ways and means by which you inform. I'll take the example during the last World Cup, if you guys remember, not the ladies one last time, the men's World Cup, which we
Mm-hmm.
lost. Uh, I remember there were so many ads on this digital, theft, where people were being looted. Do you remember that? Even Amitabh Bachchan had an ad in which he was kind of speaking for RBI, saying, "Look, don't believe all these scams which are being offered to you. Be
Mm-hmm.
careful." There were so many ads. In fact, I watched a lot of matches, so I saw a lot of the ads. That
Mm-hmm.
works. That works. Informating people, saying, look, you're being looted. Don't go by this, that, you will double your money tomorrow, just pay up here. They'll double 300 rupees and they'll say 30,000, they'll disappear with it. That is the manner in which trust can be created in digital technologies. And that is what has worked. Yes, sometimes events like COVID or demonetization force us into it, and we then see COVID also made us go into digital payments and many UPI systems. Just like you know, uh, Charu may recall, we've been doing these calls for many years. We were using WebEx and Skype and all that before. Today, Zoom calls are the norm. Why did they become the norm? It was because of COVID.
Yeah.
COVID told us this works. Work from home works. So we will come back in and use this extensively. The trust came because of certain natural phenomena that happened. So my point is, you can't force it, or you should not force it. You can. Let me be very clear. You
Mm-hmm.
can force it, but you should not. It is unfortunate. Coercion should not be used. Now,
Yeah, indeed.
we do need to understand. I'll take a third domain here. I've been talking about money and Aadhaar. I'll talk about doctor-patient interaction. I've done quite a bit of work on this. How do doctors, we have Ayushman Bharat now, we have these, telemedicine interactions. How does trust come about? Trust comes about because the person you trust is on the other end of the line. So if you're a
Yes.
patient, if you are going to a doctor whom you trust, you don't trust the technology. You say the doctor is using it, I am okay with this. And we have
Yeah.
shown this repeatedly, even through experiments, through studies, that it's the doctor that matters. Technology may
Yeah.
be great, it does not work. So building trust is very specific to the task at hand and the people involved in that interaction who will create it for you. Especially for in India, people are very comfortable now with technology because practically everybody carries a mobile phone around. So they're comfortable, but they are mistrustful to begin with. They
Yeah.
do also get conned because of all these digital arrests and all you're seeing. There's conning going on. This is people are
Yeah.
breaching the trust. They're breaking it. You trusted something, people go breach it, they loot you. Then you become aware and you're told, don't fall for this. So it's a
Mhm.
complex set of processes that go into building trust around technology. Same thing with AI. I think today we know that a lot of people are going to these models and asking questions about their health. I think this is very problematic. You have stomach upset, anything, you go and ask, and you will even take prescription medicine and take it. Say, okay, ChatGPT told me this. This is deeply problematic. We will have to build this trust in people. Actually, we actually don't know how good it is. In fact, I have tested this recently and I found that the answers are basically 70% accurate. So 30% of
Mm.
the time they're saying something we don't know. And this is just test set data. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Apparently now people are using these ChatGPT kind of tools for mental health issues. Now, how are people going off and pouring out their serious troubles to ChatGPT, who is giving them answers and they're believing it? This is
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
This is happening across the board. We have to now grow into this. Now governments are wisening up. Our government is, and I agree with Dr. Malhotra here, that our governments are sharp. They are onto this.
Hmm.
But the scale of operations is so much, you're basically playing catch up as fast as you can. So this is
Okay,
going to take a while, but there are some ways out. Yeah, I'll conclude with
perfect,
that.
perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much, Charu ma'am and Rahul sir, for those rich insights. And we'd love to have your closing statements. So, ladies first. So, starting with you, Charu ma'am.
I object to that. I would say mentor first, but anyway, if the ball is in my court, I don't mind. I would just say that it is up to us to decide whether we want safer roads or we want safer environment, because I'm very worried about that. So
Oh,
AI smart cities is all about safer roads or safer air spaces. We had this crash of the
yeah,
whole system yesterday at Delhi airport. So whether we want those kind of AI-driven models that will give us that safety, or we are also thinking about safe environment and happy environment, etc. So that's what I'll say. Thank you.
okay. Thank you, ma'am. Rahul sir.
Well, I will emphasize the privacy surveillance aspects of it. With these technologies, we as citizens have to be aware of them and have to be conscious of how we are being monitored, and how we are citizens more than digital citizens, and that
Yeah,
needs to be respected in every possible way. And we
yeah,
have to become aware of what is going on, how things are being used, and we have to be conscious of it and step up and speak up and say, no, ma'am, this is not acceptable and this is acceptable. We do
yeah,
want the benefits. We do want the benefits, and I agree with Dr. Malhotra that we want the benefits, but not at an inordinate cost.
yeah. True.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll
I
close
think.
with that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. All right. So, what really stands out from today's discussion is that AI in cities is not just about technological transformation, but more like about governance revolution. So we can both speakers seem to agree that future of AI governance in India will rest on three pillars. The first is transparency and safety. Citizens should be aware about how decisions are made, how these technologies are impacting their lives, how they can trust these technologies. The second thing was ethics and inclusion. We ensure that the digital divide is decreasing, not deepening. So how not not every group is left behind by the digital divide, and there's inclusivity among the different classes and different regions of India. The third thing is collaboration between the governments, academia, and civil society to build frameworks that evolves with technologies, and to ensure smart cities which are really smart as well as safe for all the stakeholders of the society. So it was a brilliant podcast. It was a brilliant conversation with both of you guys. So, and as we look ahead to India 2047, it's clear that AI can make our cities more efficient and adaptive. Thank you, Charu ma'am. Thank you, Rahul sir. Now over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone, for this beautiful discussion today. As we reach an end, we learn that the pillars of our society and pillars of our smart cities also come from an innate desire to be smarter individuals. So, as we look forward, the three pillars that Charu ma'am mentioned, and Rahul sir agrees to that, saying that when citizens are involved, it makes a bigger impact. We thank you for joining the World of Omesha Foundation, and we are also glad that our youth ambassador, Mr. Harsh, carried forward the conversation so beautifully. Let's stay tuned for our next podcast, which would be our final in this series of podcasts, Vasudeva Kutum, Reimagining Global Governance of AI. I hope you liked our podcast and will follow us on all our social media channels. And we look forward to being friends, you both, Dr. Charru and Dr. Rahul, being friends of A4G and helping us along with our mission and vision to make AI for good and with more humanness in it. Thank you, everyone.